Welcome to Indiana Sports Beat Radio.
So for the thousands in attendance and the millions watching around the world.
Time! Three on the way. Oh! It went in! It went in! And Indiana wins the ball game!
Know your role and shut your mouth, you jabroni!
Float game for the win! Taylor's gone. Goodbye. Touchdown, Indy. Woo! IU. America. They got a football team now.
It's pretty simple. I win. Google me.
You know that I'm the cream of the crop.
Oh, now, here's Jim Coyle.
Welcome aboard. Happy Thursday. Glad to have you. Glad to be along with you as today we wave the green flag officially as the NCAA tournament gets underway. As someone has already called it the greatest show on earth, it is without question the greatest 3 weeks in sports, in most people's opinion, in mine and many others. But hey, you know what? There's others, but they're off in crazy land, right? Man, it's already been fun. The play-in games were even fun. The first night, I didn't watch the first game, but then I found out afterwards, hell, it came down to a last possession shot to win or tie. And then the next game, Texas and North Carolina State was a great game. Last night, same. We saw the Miami. What are they, Red Hawks? Yeah, that's right. They had to change their name. The Miami University, by the way. Jalen Rose, I love it. Wally Zerbiak is part of the crew, that TV crew that covers the games. Of course, a great former Miami alum, and yeah, he was puffing up, but Jalen Rose was supporting him and said, "Hey, man, I'm putting some respect on your name." He's called him Miami University instead of Miami of Ohio, which, you know what? That's what I'd start going. Dump that Ohio thing, man. But guess who was there to just try to dilute it as much as possible? Your good friend Bruce Pearl. It was funny. I mean, there's not a lot negative he can say, and he didn't say it wasn't negative, but he wasn't. Let's just say had it been anybody else, it was funny. Bruce Pearl, of course, said that Miami didn't belong in the tournament. They couldn't compete. Well, and not only that, Pete Suter was one of the stars, by the way, former Carmel kid. How about congratulations? And what a group. They're fun to watch, as a matter of fact. I wanted to watch. See, I want to pull up their stats. You're gonna, if you don't know them, it's gonna boggle your mind. Here's the box score. All right, for the Red Hawks, where's the points? They always move them in different places with different ones. And I never understand why they put points inside of the group. Anyway, Brent Byers, 19 points last night. Luke Skajak, 17. Ian Elmer, 23. Kids you've never heard of. What Pete Suter score? Am I looking at the wrong one? No. I don't know why he's not listed on there. Where in the world? Oh, there he is. Scored 7 points, 2 of 9 shooting. Didn't hit any of his 3-point shots. 3 of 5 at the free throw line. 7 big rebounds, 6 assists. Led the team in assists. 20 assists they had on 29 made baskets. 20 assists on 29 made baskets. Do you know how many 3-point shots they attempted? Oh, my goodness. 41. They only put up 64 total shots. 41 of them were from three-point. I mean, you want to talk about a team whose offense is three-point? It's Miami. But they also had great ball movement. And for being so undersized, gee whiz. Shot 41 times from behind the three-point line. And guess what? They hit 39%. 16 of 41. That'll do you well every time. Only 68% at the free throw line. That always cracks me up when a team that is so good shooting the three, but the 3-point shots, a lot of them are unconscious shots. Especially the ones they take, man, they've got some quick releases. Some of those shots were amazing, but it was so fun to watch. I'm telling you, I had a blast, and we'll get to see them play on as they will move on. And then the rest of the party starts tonight, and I'm here for it, baby. Let's see. There's 7 Big Ten teams playing today. I can tell you that. Plenty of them. And, oops, there we go. NCAA tournament, Santa Clara and Kentucky kicking it off. And it's a 7-10 matchup. Kentucky's a 7. Kentucky's a 3.5-point favorite. There you go. That's all you need to know. If there's any game that is a 3.5-point game, to me it's a tie game. It's a toss-up, and that's definitely close enough. It's not like Arizona playing Long Island and they're a 30.5-point favorite. Big difference there. But Texas Tech taking on Akron today. Texas Tech is the 7.5-point favorite, but I think they're susceptible. And don't forget to get your brackets in. Hope you've gotten it in by now. But let's see. There's tons of great games. Virginia's playing today. Matter of fact, for many of you, Kentucky, Texas Tech, and they're kicking it off, followed by Arizona, the first number 1 seed of the tournament to play. Iowa State's in action. Alabama, oh boy. I think they're going to end up with a road to the Sweet 16 at least, unfortunately. Miami of Ohio, now they take on Tennessee, and they have to play like they played yesterday. They have to shoot that many 3-point shots, but they've got to hit them. Because let me tell you, that day where instead of 39%, you shoot 29%, now you're in trouble because they won the game by 10, but that's not exactly curb stomping somebody. So they've got to be able to withstand. It's going to be interesting to watch them play teams with that they have such mismatches with, which should be a lot. But looking forward to it, man. Looking forward to the tournament. It's already been good. So what's Bill saying? Bill, oh yeah, someone asking Bill. He's the longest. Bill's the longest, officially the longest listener we have. He has been around from day one. And I mean day one, back when we kicked off in 2017, baby. Yes, it's been that long. That's crazy, isn't it? Holy smokies. But looking forward to it. Looking forward to the tournament. I just talked about some of the games. Let's see the day ends with Miami and Missouri. Miami's a 1.5-point favorite. And they've got Malik Renew. I've got Miami going a little bit here. I have them beating Purdue in my tournament, not only because I think that Malik Renew can dominate the paint, and Miami could be athletic enough to do what has to be done to stop Purdue, and that is limiting Braden Smith and his ability to distribute the ball. If you do that, then you've got a handle on Purdue. Number 2 seeded UConn plays today. They're a 20.5-point favorite. Kansas taking on California Baptist. 14.5-point favorite. Here's the spread, baby. You saw Prairie View A&M play last night. Their reward, they play tonight against number 1 Florida. It's in the South region. Now, how do you do that? I mean, back-to-back games, I guess, not that big a deal like the conference tournaments, and you're only going to do it once. But I assumed they would, but I guess they're all already fed into certain brackets. But if you're going to have them play on Thursday, why not have those teams play Tuesday? It's kind of weird. But Queens University and Purdue. Purdue's a 25.5-point favorite. Hey, let's take a quick break. Coach Griffith will join us. Sig's going to drive the pace car at Indy. How about that? Appreciate you joining us on this Thursday. Much more coming up right after these messages.
Andy Moore Honda Bloomington has the deals for you, like great savings on the remaining 2025 Hondas. First-time buyers get more than expected. The Honda Civic and HR-V are the most popular vehicles for first-time buyers in the U.S. Andy Moore Honda Bloomington also has a quality selection of pre-certified used vehicles. And check out the selection of Andy Moore Honda Bloomington's 2026 models, like the Honda Passport, Honda CR-V Hybrid, Honda Ridgeline, and more. ISB Radio with Jim Coyle is brought to you exclusively on The Zone by Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington, Bloomington's #1 Honda dealer. If you're looking for a new home in the Indianapolis area, you need Cheryl Sizemore from Brick and Ivy Realty. Cheryl Sizemore has over 2 decades of experience, and that could be the difference in getting the home you want in today's tough housing market. Reach out to Cheryl at CherylSizemore@gmail.com or 317-701-0838. That's 317-701-0838. Let Cheryl Sizemore sell or find your new home today.
Zach Browning here to tell you about an offer you simply can't pass up. If you're looking for the best coverage of Indiana football and basketball, which includes recruiting, weekly chats, podcasts, as well as access to the best national team out there, then look no further than thehoosier.com. The best part, it's just $1 for the first week. Oh, and did I mention that you get a full year of access to The Athletic when you sign up? You can't beat the coverage, and you can't beat the deal. So head over to thehoosier.com today and sign up for just $1. It'll be the best decision you ever made.
Bored, Bloomington? Dave & Buster's can fix that. Eat and drink your way through our all-new menu. Play half-price games every Sunday through Thursday. Watch all your team's wins on a 40-foot screen and 30 HD TVs. And level all up with the high-flying human crane that puts you in the game. Private game suites, our exclusive arena, and more. Only at Dave & Buster's on 731 South College Mall Road.
Welcome back, Indiana Sports Beat Radio on this Thursday. We're kicking it off, baby. You got your bracket filled out, Coach?
No, I don't.
Yeah, I figured when I just like, yeah, no. Jump in there, baby. Just I only did one. I have a second one in there, and it keeps screwing around, telling me it's. I keep filling it out, but maybe I'll do the second one. I don't know, but it's kicking. It's like waving the green flag tonight, baby. And speaking of waving the green flag, damn it, I've been congratulating myself on being so good at segueing and patting myself on the back. And there was another one waving the green flag, and that's what Curt Signetti will get to do in Indianapolis. driving the Indianapolis 500 pace car. I mean, what? Curt Signetti's world is spinning at warp speed right now. I mean, think about this. 2 years ago, he wasn't unknown because James Madison had at about that point. We're like, well, what the hell's going on at James Madison? Because they were showing up, but it's still, he's making $600,000 a year. I mean, I'd love to have that, but fast forward 2 years, he's driving a freaking Indianapolis 500 pace car. He's making 10 or 11, whatever, $13 damn million. He won undefeated national champion. He's the toast of the town, the media darling. And the thing is, he's able to juggle all of that, handle all of that. I think that's part of why he's so successful as a coach. He compartmentalizes everything, I believe. And I think he can just put everything in its box, and everything has its time slot, and that's where it goes.
Yeah, I would assume in my impression is the same, that he's a type A personality where everything is pretty regimented when it comes to what you need to do and how you need to do it. He lays it out, and once you accomplish that, then, you can move on to the next thing. But I'd be interested to see how many opportunities he's turned down for, some of these other prestigious awards and stuff, because I'm sure there's been quite a bit. I know I saw something the other day. He was offered like $6,000 to go make a talk or speech at some, company. And he said he's just not into the talking circuit. I don't need the money, but I don't feel like getting up in front of a group of people and start talking. So
he's true. He's telling the truth. What?
Yeah.
I hate to say this, but what the hell is $6,000 to a guy that's, I mean, and I don't mean that in a bad way. And some people say, well, you can donate it to charity. He's probably already donating plenty to charity.
Oh, I'm sure. He's got Indiana, PA. He's got I think something there for his dad.
Yeah, and his time is, I get it. I mean, he is doing so much, and he's also the head coach of the defending national champion football program that they're trying to do it again. So yeah, he's done a great job at balancing all of that.
And if you notice, most of his opportunities are at times when there's not a football item in the picture, so these are well outside the window of the football responsibilities in terms of, what the priority would be. So as we get into spring practice here next week, he's not going to be somebody that's going to be visible in the, circuit of shaking hands and kissing babies right now. So, but you're right. I mean, I think he does a great job of compartmentalizing stuff. I think he does that even with the assistant coaches. I'm sure he's pretty adamant about what they can or can't do when it comes to these opportunities to go maybe speak somewhere or whatever. And I think he's probably pretty outspoken about what that is and what they can or can't do when it comes to those things and how it may or may not interfere with the football aspect.
Yeah, I agree completely. And they're moving forward. Spring practice beginning. A lot of guys will be coming in to like that, and pro day coming up April 1st. What is today? The 19th. So about 2 weeks. Just 2 weeks away.
Yeah, they start the 26th. Their spring practice, I think, start on the 26th, if my memory serves me correctly.
Which makes pro day kind of right in the middle of it.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know why they did it this way this year. Usually they have their pro day before spring break. And for whatever reason, they decided to not do it that way, and they pushed it back to April 1st. And probably for the good reasons. There's probably a reason there that makes sense to why they did it that way. But I believe Indiana's on spring break this week, if I'm not mistaken. Is that, and then they come back with that, and then they'll get ready to go with spring practice.
Yeah, and it's going to be interesting because it's the gathering of I don't want to say a new team, but there's going to be mix. Let's see, all of the pieces are in place, and everyone that can come into the spring has arrived, but some can't. Josh Hoover is one of those that is on campus, and so he will be going through that. It's going to be weird to have Josh Hoover and Fernando Mendoza out there. Now, I don't know if Josh Hoover will be around for pro day, since Fernando is going to be throwing to the receivers.
Yeah, he may be there for an extra arm per se, but yeah, sometimes they keep those separate.
And plus Fernando's does not need to show off for anybody. And Josh Hoover doesn't this year per se, but it's a good opportunity for him to kind of say, hey, here I am. But it's not like they don't know who the hell he is.
Oh, yeah, they'll size him up. I mean, there's going to be too many, like I said last week on the Hoosier Tailgate, that this will be probably the biggest turnout of NFL front office staff and head coaches that Indiana's ever had on the campus, just because of where guys are slated in the draft, with not, you got Fernando, of course, but you got Omar Cooper, who's made, I think he's jumped up on a lot of people's draft boards, and you got Surratt and some other guys. So I do think you're going to see a lot of those front office staff, GMs, head coaches, there to observe and see, what they think of people with their, putting eyes on them per se.
Absolutely. And the fact that, again, this is the day that the NCAA tournament starts, and we're talking football right now.
I know.
Amazing. But nothing ceases to amaze me anymore. But to switch it back for just a minute, want to congratulate Drew Adams, one of Indiana's assistant coaches, who was named as one of the top assistants in the game. He received that award a couple times before for the mid majors, but received it again from Silverware Media as one of the most impactful assistants in the game. He got it in 2020 and 2022 for the mid-major award, but this is for the big boys. So when I tell you that Indiana's has its best staff that it has had in forever, trust me. And they're cooking, man. They're cooking. You got it. And I know people are tired of hearing that. I get that. But guess what? As I said before, this has nothing to do with this group. So, but yeah, congratulations to Drew.
Yeah.
It's a nice deal. So you have to work hard to be noticed like that.
Absolutely.
Because think of how many assistant coaches there are, how many basketball teams there are in Division I.
Oh, yeah.
350 or something. Well, multiply that times 3, and that's how many. So to be in the top 50, pretty good.
Yep.
Pretty good. So yeah. And did you fill out oh, that's right. You did not fill out a
No, I haven't got to it, man. I've been so busy with some other things outside of the household that I haven't had a chance, but I probably sit down before the game start today and go through it. But there should be some interesting games today.
You better get on it. Oh, I think they're all, well, I'm not going to say all. I think there are going to be a ton of great games. Doesn't necessarily mean a ton of upsets, but I think, yeah, just because the play-in games have already been good.
They've been awesome.
And they're good games. That's all we want. And I think that's where the point we have reached. It may be a little chalky, but I think it's going to be chalky by being good games. Not that there aren't going to be some beatdowns. Hell, that happens all the time. Gee whiz, look at UConn and St. John's.
Yeah.
2 highly seeded teams. They played 3 times. Every game was decided by 20 points or more. Think about that.
Yeah.
You play once, you beat this team by 20. You play them again, they beat you by 30. You play them again, you beat them by 20. It's like, wow.
Shake your head.
But I think that you're going to get the all the best versions.
Yeah.
It's just
well, it's interesting.
man.
The play-in games are kind of the thing that's been thrown around with college football playoffs. That's one thing that the Big Ten had kind of quote unquote proposed, to have these play-in games. And you saw these, the basketball last couple nights in that regard, playing these play-in games and how good they are. And so you can kind of get an idea how that would look in the world of football if you had play-in games, especially if they're on the college campus, like they would, they had said they would. And I just think it just adds another dynamic to it with college football. But again, we've got all the answers here on the outside with college football, but it doesn't seem like anyone has the answers when it comes to what direction this group's going to head here in the near future. And, you've got, Stanky out talking about the SEC and the Big Ten may have to, pull away from the NCAA and reform. And the problem, and I see what they're saying is that there's nothing that they're going to do under the NCAA that's not going to get challenged somehow in a court of law, that the NCAA has lost all their ability to enforce rules because of lawsuits, right, wrong, or indifferent.
But I think that here's the deal. But here's the funny thing is, I think if the Big Ten, I don't think that they're looking to break away from the.
No, I'm not saying that.
But right. I know they're tired, like everybody, like all of us. They're tired of his crap.
Yeah.
If you're in Tennessee, this Tennessee judge allowed for this kid to play. This Alabama judge allowed for this kid to play. I mean, ridiculous judgments. But you can't there's no balance, and that's the issue and the problem. Yeah. So if they would make rules and then say, okay, every one of you agree to this and you sign, and there's a no suit clause or whatever. But why isn't it that way now?
Well,
I mean, because they want to do things kind of their way.
Yeah, it goes back to the decisions that were made in courts, because this NIL and profit sharing and all that just got dropped on everyone's lap within a window that was, in some respects, pretty short. And all of a sudden, it went from, amateur sports in theory to pro sports overnight. And no one was ready. No one, including the NCAA, as it pertains to and that's their fault, because they knew this was coming, but they did not do enough in the meantime to put themselves in the best possible position to accommodate what was going to happen when this all changed overnight. And again, but I do think, some of the things I've read, I think we're all in for a very, I don't know if you call it painful, but it's going to be like this for a couple of years until they get this settled into what it's got to be, whether it's, the government, Congress, whatever that may be. But for now, this is the system that we are operating under, and it's not going to be perfect. And there are going to be something, well, why did that happen over there, but it didn't happen here? There's going to be a lot of that type of situations. But again, we're talking football in March. We got spring practice around the corner. It's a fun time to be involved with Indiana football from the standpoint of defending national champs. And I think Curt Signetti will walk into the room and he will not talk a single word about the 25 team, because this is the 26 team and they've done nothing. And that's how his approach is. And they will earn everything they can get by the way they, put themselves in the position to be successful. And that starts next week when, spring practices start. And he'll say Josh Hoover is going to look like, crap for the first 2 weeks because he's trying to understand a new philosophical approach. And by the last 2 weeks, he'll be right on point. But there's some interesting dynamics with this team. The defense with what they've replaced. You got the offense, of course, with not only Hoover, but who will be the quote unquote backup. Is Tyler Cherry rehabilitated enough that he will make that next jump because he's been out for a year? You got Grant Wilson there as the kind of the steady Eddie upperclassman that's got a little bit of playing experience. And you got I tell you, the wide receiver room and the running back room, if you don't get excited to watch those two positions perform, there's something wrong with you because there's so much talent there. It's just a lot of talent at those two positions. And the only position right now that I kind of got a question mark on is how they're going to utilize a tight end, but they'll have the answer for that. But I tell you, there's some really good athletes out there going to be running around for Indiana.
They use the tight end like a slot guy.
Yeah,
like a bigger slot guy. I mean,
it's a hybrid position.
It's a hybrid. Dangerous.
Yeah,
well,
and like I said, they'll figure it out.
When's the next episode?
Tonight we're going again at 7:30. We will finish up our series on the portal editions. We'll talk about Josh Burnham from Notre Dame and Joe Yelly from Tulsa, the big defensive lineman. We'll talk about those two, and that will wrap up the series as we get ourselves pointed towards spring practice next, and we'll get into that next week. But tonight will be that final segment on the portal editions. 7:30.
You can find the Hoosier Tailgate at thehoosier.com. Back with more. Thanks, Coach. Appreciate you.
You too, buddy.
Up next, Schutte Dustin, or Dustin Schutte, joins us. Looking forward to it.
The ISC Sports Network is your home for sports content across the Hoosier State. Find us live on TV and streaming or archived on our website and our app. The ISC is your one-stop shop for the content you want to see, including high school sports, college sports, and other great events throughout the year. Subscribe to our streaming service and get access to it all. ISC. Local lives here.
If you're looking for a new home in the Indianapolis area, you need Cheryl Sizemore from Brick and Ivy Realty. Cheryl Sizemore has over 2 decades of experience, and that could be the difference in getting the home you want in today's tough housing market. Reach out to Cheryl at CherylSizemoreSells@gmail.com or 317-701-0838. That's 317-701-0838. Let Cheryl Sizemore sell or find your new home today. Andy Moore Honda Bloomington has the deals for you, like great savings on the remaining 2025 Hondas. First-time buyers get more than expected. The Honda Civic and HR-V are the most popular vehicles for first-time buyers in the U.S. Andy Moore Honda Bloomington also has a quality selection of pre-certified used vehicles. And check out the selection of Andy Moore Honda Bloomington's 2026 models, like the Honda Passport, Honda CR-V Hybrid, Honda Ridgeline, and more. ISB Radio with Jim Coyle is brought to you exclusively on The Zone by Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington, Bloomington's #1 Honda dealer.
Dave & Buster's Bloomington is the place to eat, drink, play, and watch. Enjoy half-price games every Sunday through Thursday, a new menu to dig into, and next-level upgrades like private game suites, the high-flying human crane that puts you in the game, our exclusive arena, and more. Only at Dave & Buster's Bloomington, 731 South College Mall Road.
Oh boy, this is the best day of the year. That threw me through a loop.
I knew I'd get caught there. Thank God there's an edit button. I had to go get another refresh of coffee. I've got to mark that down. See, where are we? All right. Welcome back. Appreciate you for being with us here on this Thursday. Dustin Schutte. Covering the Boilers. You can find him at Boilers on SI. And they're playing their best basketball of the year right now, winning that Big Ten tournament was one of the more impressive things I have seen them do. And I know people are going to say, well, they went to the championship game. Yeah, well, they had a freak of nature that just kind of changed the course. That had he not been there, I mean, I don't know of any other player that would have altered the game for them like he did. But they didn't have that. They had, this was good old-fashioned. It was kind of like watching Miami play at a higher level with better. I'm trying to look for the words. I'm trying to say it. Non-superstars, non-5 stars. These guys that came out of high school as I wouldn't even know what, I don't know what Braden Smith was. Probably a 3 or maybe a 4.
3-star.
He was a 3. Okay.
I believe
that sounds about right.
Fletcher and was a 4. I believe Trey Kaufman-Renn was a 4-star. I don't know what anybody else was rated of that group, but like to your point, that was when you consider the circumstance and how they played the rest of the last basically 6 weeks of the regular season. They went 6-7 in their last 13 games. They had lost 4 of 6 and 5 losses at Mackey Arena this season. And so you kind of wondered like, hey, what is this team? Are they going to feel like they left something on the table? Yeah, they had accomplished a lot, but at the same time, their ultimate goal was to win a national championship. Now, obviously, the Big Ten tournament is a long way from the Final Four. It's a long way from a national championship. But I think the way they were able to play, especially in that championship game against Michigan, kind of proved that this is the team that we all expected to see for the duration of the season. I mean, this is still the team that beat Texas Tech with JT Toppin by 30 points back in November. That team was still in there. The team that ran Auburn off the floor is still in there. And so I think we saw that those past 4 days. Now, obviously, you go. It's all reset. Purdue won the Big Ten tournament in 2023, won the regular season in 2023, and got upset in the first round. So, you know, you've got to hit the reset button. I think they have an interesting matchup on Friday here in St. Louis because Queens is a team that's averaging just under 85 points per game. They like to shoot the 3. They average 29 shots per game and from behind the arc. And, you know, in the last 6 weeks of the season, that's been Purdue's Achilles heel is defending the 3-point line. So I think they have a lot of advantages in this game, but it could be one of those where if Queens comes out and starts hitting some shots and knocking down threes, could be a little bit more interesting than people would like to admit.
Well, I think that's going to be the case for a ton of games, especially after watching these first 4 play-in games. They were all good games, fun to watch. And I think that's going to continue. I said this earlier. Yeah, there are probably going to be some blowouts. Hell, there's always blowouts in basketball, but there's going to be some great games. There's going to be some upsets. I don't think there'll be quite as many upsets as people think. I think it'll be chalky, but I think the games are going to be close chalky, as opposed to back in the days where all the 1, 2s, 3s, 4 seeds were winning by 25 and just curb stomping guys in their first games. That's not the case anymore.
No, it's not. I mean, there's a new level of parity in college basketball. It's been there for a while, but I think it's even better now. I think that probably a little bit of the transfer portal has something to do with that because you got guys that shift and go to different places and you don't have, you know, some of those mid-major teams. Purdue's one of the few exceptions at the power level, but some of those mid-major teams have been together for 3 or 4 years, or sometimes, you know, they add guys who were at a place like a North Carolina or a Duke or a Louisville or something, and then they get an upgrade in talent because those guys just want to play basketball and maybe they're not getting the minutes they want, or maybe they're not starting or whatever the case may be. So they may drop down to play at a place like a Miami of Ohio or I don't even know another example, St. Louis. By the way, how about St. Louis? Basically the former Indiana State Sycamores.
Cream the job done. Larry Nerd.
All those
Saint. Let's see, Terre Haute or Indiana State West.
Paradise.
Paradise. Oh my, that's a new one.
I've heard it. I've heard Paradise and I've heard Terrible Hope. So take your pick there on whichever one you.
I have heard the latter. I have heard the latter. Man, I can't remember the game. It was one of the first play-in games. And I love Charles Barkley, but good Lord, we don't need Charles Barkley sitting next to Dick Vitale anymore. It's great that Dick got to do his first NCAA game in his career. That I hope that's enough. I'm glad he got to do it, but I think that he hijacks the game, hijacks the broadcast a lot of times. I don't think he realizes it. But so I'm glad he got to do it, but let's move on.
Yeah. I would say so. I was actually entertained by that broadcast. Here's the thing though. If my team was playing in one of those games, I would have had to mute it because for 36 minutes, they did not talk about the game. They were talking about a lot of other things. So I didn't mind it.
Bill Walton. I know Bill Walton. This was the same thing, except for I thought Bill Walton was freaking hilarious when he did it because of all the crazy stuff that he was doing. And he knew he was being crazy and he knew he was driving some people crazy. But I think some people actually enjoyed being driven crazy, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
I think some people liked not liking him. I loved it. I was like, you know what? I think it's freaking funny. It's different. I don't need him to tell me what the hell I just saw. I just saw it.
Right.
But they're going off on different directions.
I always had the same thought about Bill Walton, which was, again, to say my own point. Like, I loved it if I didn't have a team, which he usually covered the Pac-12. So, but if I had a team that I was wanting to watch or a game I did not want. But if I didn't care and just wanted to be entertained, that I would have that full blast, baby.
I agree with you 1,000%. We are in total agreement. Let's see. Oh, is this spring forward weekend?
No, we've already done that.
Oh, that's right. We already did that. What am I thinking? Somebody said that. But I'm just looking through the comments. People don't lose goofy comment. No, Indiana Pro Day is not open to the public. Sorry, but no. And there's going to be enough. Trust me. Pro Day
they haven't had it yet?
No, it's April 1st.
Oh, okay. I did not know that.
In the middle of spring practice.
Well, they could have had their own little March Madness, I guess. But I did not know that. I thought that was done before the calendar turned to April. Good to know. Good to know.
Yeah, no. And Fernando Mendoza will be throwing there. He did not throw at the combine. He doesn't need to throw. We know where.
I was going to say, yeah.
How about all the kerfuffle that is coming out of this? Max Crosby.
Yeah.
Failed trade. He's pissed off. He's glad he's fine where he is now, but he's pissed off at how it was handled. And I was listening to some of this yesterday that like when he arrived, he said it was a weird vibe. He said normally the coach and GM are there to meet you, especially on a big time trade like that. He said, didn't see anybody for like 5 hours. And then when he did, he said, I think he said, I dabbed him up, which, for those of you in the older generation, dabbing him up, just giving him a hug, a pop in the back, whatever. And he said it was a weird vibe. You could tell something seemed off. And so that's a weird situation. This is not something you usually hear about in the NFL. Not a lot of places really, but the NFL especially. They are freaking buttoned down.
Yeah, I don't know of a situation similar to that. I'm sure there's some out there, but I can't think of any off the top of my head. That was just, that was wild. It broke the news cycle for a while there. And I did not hear what he said. I know he went on some podcast or a radio show or something and opened up about everything that happened. I did not see, but that seemed like a done deal. And it seemed like a way for the Ravens to maybe take that next step and potentially pursue that Super Bowl like they They've had one of the generational quarterbacks and haven't been able to get the job done. So you thought that they were putting together some pieces. So yeah, that was crazy. And shout out to the Ravens fan who wrote on social media he would shave his head if they got Max Crosby. Did it. And has nothing to show for it. That's why you always wait until that first Sunday when they're in their uniform.
You should have took a marker and wrote on top of his head, "Ravens, you suck."
yeah. Got to do something about that. Never cash in on the bet until after you've seen your guy in uniform on the football field on Sunday.
Hey, make sure as soon as you're done here today, you go to our ESPN Fantasy tab
Bracket Palooza.
Bracket Palooza. The group is just Indiana Sports Beat fans, and the password is Indiana. Go there and fill one out. Yeah, I think you have to have them in before the games start. So,
who are you revealing who your champion is? You keeping it a secret?
No, I'll tell you. Arizona.
I've
been on Arizona.
Okay.
For the last half of the season, they just seemed to be the most consistently good. Doesn't mean that they can't get knocked off. Yep. Anybody can lose. Trust me. But I just think that they're going to do it. Doesn't mean they're going to. But that's my pick. I've got Michigan in the Final Four. Iowa State scares me.
Yeah, I like Iowa State a lot.
There's this metrics the thing that I'm sure you've seen that since I think 2001, teams that win a national championship have to be under the top 21 in Ken Pom efficiency rating and under top 31 in defense to win the national championship. And there are only 8 teams that fit into that category.
Right.
There are a couple of them that have zero chance. Louisville could lose today. Markel Brown is not going for Louisville.
Yeah.
And he's their best player. And I'm like, I'm seriously thinking of going in and changing my bracket before the games so I can make that change.
I would say, so some of the things that are interesting to me, I think the injury to LJ Kayson at Michigan, I think that, is Michigan going to get worn down? They're a super team. And they'd already won the Big Ten. And so they didn't need to prove anything in that Big Ten tournament. But when they run into an Iowa State, are they going to have the bodies and the endurance to get through that one? Iowa State, I think, could take that region. The other one that is interesting to me, Jim, is Arizona potentially playing Wisconsin in the Sweet 16.
Oh, I've got that game down, buddy. Because I've got that game.
And the reason why that one intrigues me, and I think Wisconsin would be ripe for an upset in that game, is because Wisconsin, again, shoots a ton of threes and can make them. So if they get hot, like they were in that game against Purdue or Michigan or Illinois, and they hit a bunch of threes, Arizona does not shoot the three well. So you would have to then play catch up. So that's the reason why I don't think Wisconsin will win that game, but it would not surprise me if they were the one to upset Arizona in that region.
They have the ability, no doubt, and I have them meeting at that game, and it's like Miami did last night. They shot 41 threes. It's like an NBA box score.
Right.
I was like, it's like an NBA box score. They put up 23 in the first half. 90% of the teams playing average less than 23 3-point attempts per game. And that was their half. Then you had Pete Suter. It was one of their starters from Carmel. He was not, I'm going to assume he was not recruited. I know he wasn't recruited by Indiana. I'm going to assume he wasn't even recruited by Purdue, which a little surprising, but good for him.
They also had a kid from Fishers on there, did they not? Miami?
Sure, but I'm not sure officially where. Well, I'm not sure officially where Pete's from. I know he went to Carmel, but
they've got.
I don't know.
They've got I just pulled up their roster. They got Blake Anderson from Evansville, Indiana. They've got Justin Kirby from Fishers, Indiana. They've got Pete from Carmel. Those are the three. Those are the three Indiana kids on the roster. I thought I heard Fishers on there.
So what you're saying is Miami University has more Indiana kids on their roster than Indiana has on their roster.
Are you sensing an issue with that, Jim?
No, just
wait.
Notes. I just make notes.
Okay, I have one legitimate question, and people are probably going to burn me for this because I don't know the answer. Why did Trent Sicily not play this year?
I do. First of all, I've told everybody I don't have the answer. Anything I say would be a guess. I think that as the season wore on and Big Ten play wore on and got a little tougher, I for one thing, I think that Josh Hare or daggone it, I'm drawing a blank on his name, but he got healthier and started playing better, and I think that he just got outplayed by an older player. And coaches start to shrink the rotation anyway. I just think that that's who at the time they felt should be on the floor. It's all, again, I'm guessing. He's a freshman. You can't, I don't know that you can expect more than that, especially playing and down low. I don't want to say a different position is easier, but being a guard, you can control more things a little bit more than you can playing down low like that. But his shooting, he was a 50% free throw shooter. That's something that he'll work on because he's a good shooter. He's a good player. He's going to be a good player. I think that people need to just let him grow. But as always, I say that I'm not in practice, so I can't see it. But I know that early on, Indiana wasn't quite as healthy. As a matter of fact, they never had, was it Josh Harris? Never played. Nick Dorn. He's the one. He got healthier and started playing better, started playing more. Was a senior. So, or is he a senior? Or is he coming back? He's one of the ones.
I think Nick Dorn is a junior.
More experience. He just went with experience trying to win games because he's got this kind of a mismatched and undersized team in the Big Ten in the year of its best year in ages. But we'll talk more about it. The King, Dustin Schutte, is with me from Boilers on SI. Back with more right after these messages.
The ISC Sports Network is your home for sports content across the Hoosier State. Find us live on TV and streaming or archived on our website and our app. The ISC is your one-stop shop for the content you want to see, including high school sports, college sports, and other great events throughout the year. Subscribe to our streaming service and get access to it all. ISC. Local lives here.
If you're looking for a new home in the Indianapolis area, you need Cheryl Sizemore from Brick and Ivy Realty. Cheryl Sizemore has over 2 decades of experience, and that could be the difference in getting the home you want in today's tough housing market. Reach out to Cheryl at CherylSizemore@gmail.com or 317-701-0838. That's 317-701-0838. Let Cheryl Sizemore sell or find your new home today. Andy Moore Honda Bloomington has the deals for you, like great savings on the remaining 2025 Hondas. First-time buyers get more than expected. The Honda Civic and HR-V are the most popular vehicles for first-time buyers in the U.S. Andy Moore Honda Bloomington also has a quality selection of pre-certified used vehicles. And check out the selection of Andy Moore Honda Bloomington's 2026 models, like the Honda Passport, Honda CR-V Hybrid, Honda Ridgeline, and more. ISB Radio with Jim Coyle is brought to you exclusively on The Zone by Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington, Bloomington's #1 Honda dealer.
David.
You're muted, Jim.
I don't know how that happens. But welcome back, Indiana Sports Beat Radio. Glad to have you, as always. Today, we wave the green flag on the NCAA tournament as we get it started. And for our listeners in and around the Bloomington area looking for something to do with the kids or something for the kids while you relax, watch the tournament maybe, Dave and Buster's in Bloomington has you covered. Games galore for all ages, wall-to-wall TVs, and I mean that literally, ceiling-to-floor TV. Full bar, delicious new menu. Plan your next birthday party, work meeting, or get-together at Dave and Buster's private room. Be sure to tell them you heard it on ISB Radio and get entered for free merch. Dave and Buster's, Bloomington, 751 South College Mall Road. I can see you being a big Dave and Buster's guy. Just what's your favorite arcade game like?
Ooh, that's a good question. I do love skee ball. But I also love the hot shot or whatever that thing's called where you shoot,
shot.
Papa shot. Yeah.
The great thing about Papa Shot is that's great one-on-one competition. Boy, you can sit there.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, for this year's CFP, at least this was just in, where were we? I'm trying to think. Atlanta in the media area. They had two Papa Shots side by side.
Nice.
Media room. So wait in there and relax. The media, not the media workroom, the media.
Like the lounge.
Yeah. Hospitality room. There you go.
Oh, there you go.
Big room. So they would have ping pong, just different things. Because you're there for 4 or 5 days, boy. And it's, and other than the events, you don't leave.
I went to the College Football Hall of Fame several years ago, and I partook in the field goal kicking. And then they have like that. It's kind of like the old, you throw a football and you get different points for where it's kind of like the football version of Papa Shot. And I did that. Man, a bunch of 12-year-olds embarrassed me on both of those.
It's funny you say that. I don't know what got me to thinking this, but back in a long time ago, I was from southern Indiana, and the Harvest Homecoming is every October in New Albany. It might be the longest running celebration of its kind in Indiana, I think. But anyway, it's always a fun time. It's like October, football. It's football season, and I remember I was probably a sophomore, and they had this pitching tunnel set up, pitching tent where you throw, and they had the gun. Well, back then, you didn't see one of those guns anywhere. Nobody had one of those. And like, oh, yeah. And so I couldn't wait. I'm like, oh, yeah, I'm going to do this. And jumped out there. You don't get, there's not like, and you can't warm up. There's no warm-ups. And I just threw 3 of them as hard as I could. Oh, my God, did my shoulder hurt for a freaking week. I'm like, I will never do that again. And I did not. It was very, very painful. But, yeah, fun times, baby. I don't know that I have really my favorite game, but Papa Shot. I have to go with Papa Shot at season or air hockey.
Air hockey's good. I do love arcade games and having a beverage or two. So I would be a big Dave and Buster's guy. That is for sure. I was going to say, you said wave the green flag on March Madness, but my mind went to Curt Signetti being the pace car driver for the Indy 500. Yeah. I feel like he would race the entire race and try, just like, he's so competitive. He's like, I'm not getting out of this car. I'm just going to try to win it.
I wouldn't doubt it. I'd love to try it, but not really, not with those guys. I'd do it in a NASCAR, but boy, those things are, they're on the line, buddy. No contact allowed.
No, because you will not. Yeah, I was going to say, you will not survive.
We were talking about picking winners. Derek said he picked Arizona, but it has been since 1998 that a team west of the Mississippi River has won the men's tournament. That is true. I have them playing Michigan State, and it's been since 2000 that a Big Ten team won. So we've got some streaks going, but
boy. Yeah, that is true.
That's weird. But But think about it. When's the last time a West Coast team won the national championship in football?
Well, probably USC, right? In the 2000s.
Yep. So they have gone a long time in both sports. Why is that? There are great schools out there. Arizona has still been a good basketball school. USC.
I don't know. What's interesting to me is I think I have a couple of reasons for this. In football, I think the primary culprit is you're not getting those schools on television. I think this is probably why teams like USC, UCLA, Oregon, and Washington joined the Big Ten, because you weren't getting those premier games. And it used to be, you would recruit basically locally. Well, recruiting's become a national sport now. So I think that was part of it, was the fact that all those games kicked off so late and they weren't on primetime TV. So that's one factor. The basketball thing, I think that's much less of because I'm sure that there's been, like, UCLA had that run as an 11 seed a few years ago. I'm sure there's been other teams that have been in the Final Four, Gonzaga. But I would say, think about Gonzaga and how many players that they've pulled away from teams like Arizona, UCLA, just by their simply existing. St. Mary's is probably similar to that. So there's some more teams out west that can be a little bit more competitive, but it is interesting. Like, there's just, you got to be Midwest or the East apparently to win national titles in either sport.
Yeah, and who I just saw it. Someone mentioned that Kansas won it in 2005 or whatever, but Kansas is the Plains or the Midwest still. I mean, it's not even, it's barely to the halfway point of the country.
Plus, they won it way more recently than that.
Yeah, they just won it a couple years ago with that.
Yeah, but I can't remember what year that was.
Cheating.
Baylor won it in the COVID year.
Texas, yeah. And I think that is the last team. No, UConn is the last team that won with a Ken Palm defensive efficiency rating outside of the top 30.
Probably 23.
So it's just going to be interesting because we look at this data, but this data it's almost hard to use it because the data changed a couple of years ago when the transfer portal came into be, and it continued to change from that point forth. Much different than what was going on from 2001 up until 2000 and whatever year we really got going on this. So there's 20 years of data that we're using that was in a completely different time. So I don't know. It's those teams, those previous 20 years of teams were teams. They had been together for, likely for most of their careers. If they transferred, it was one time. So those teams were all teams. Part of what has been giving Purdue, I think, their ability to find this run of success here of late. That, and I've said this 100 times, I mean, there's no question that Braden Smith went record hunting there during the Big Ten tournament. I mean, just exploded for 4,000 assists a game all of a sudden. But it made Purdue better. It allowed them to win because it got everybody else involved. It made defending Purdue much more difficult because now, instead of focusing partly on Braden Smith scoring, it's not him scoring, it's him getting everybody else to score because he was just dishing off for easy layups left and right. So,
I do think the one advantage that Purdue's going to have in this tournament is he's going to break that record probably by the first or second media timeout. And then he doesn't have to
one game.
Then he doesn't have to think about it. So it's no longer going to be weighing on his mind. And I don't care
what
anybody says
about it at this point because it's inevitable. And
well, I know, but I think that there's a human element of, like, if you're that close to the record, I think you're going to think about it no matter what. So the fact is, if he went into the tournament with needing like 10 or 15, I think it's still on his mind for, the first game or two. But now that he needs 1 or 2, he knows he's going to get it. So I think it's a one less weight on his shoulders. Now, whether that results in, you can't really play much better than he played in the Big Ten tournament. You could score a little bit more, but I don't he had
he
16?
He led to a lot of scoring.
He did, but he only scored in those first 2 games. It was 10 total. And then I think the second game was maybe 6. So he had 16 points, and then he had the 14-point day against Michigan, but he had more assists. He had 46 assists, and I want to say he had 30 points. I can't remember the exact number, but that's got to be a record low in terms of points scored for a Big Ten tournament MVP.
Well, yeah, but normally you're not getting the number of assists that he was just piling up, which led to points all the way around. Today's schedule, 7 Big Ten teams in action today, Big Daddy.
Wow. Did not realize it was that many.
Ohio State kicks it off, as does Nebraska. They're playing, for those following along on radio, they're playing right now. I'm glad you're listening to us instead. Louisville, South Florida. Okay. That's a 6-11 game.
Yep.
And I was kind of on the fence to begin with, but now that Markel Brown is not playing, I'm like, okay, is South Florida a potential upset on this game?
I would say so. I act like I've watched South Florida play. I've not watched them play.
I haven't either.
Okay, so
Louisville's only a 4.5-point favorite.
So I honestly don't know, but there is a little bit if you want to believe in, I'll just say this, and this applies to Kennesaw State too. If you want to believe in good stories and that stuff, and you're looking for a team, if your team's not in it and you want somebody to root for, USF and Kennesaw State. Amir Abdul-Rahim last year passed away unexpectedly during what was supposed to be a routine surgery. He coached at Kennesaw State, got them into the NCAA tournament for the first time in the 2023 season, and then he went to USF. And so both of those teams are now in the NCAA tournament. And I think that's a really cool story. So if you want, Kennesaw State will play Gonzaga. I think they play tomorrow, but Kennesaw State plays Gonzaga. USF plays South Florida. So if you're looking for, Kennesaw State plays Gonzaga. USF plays Louisville. If you're looking for a rooting interest just for a good story, USF and Kennesaw State, those would be your 2 teams just for kind of like the feel-good story. That's my 2 cents.
The other day, Matt Jones, who of the Kentucky KSR, Kentucky Sports Radio Network, I heard he was making his picks for ESPN or someone, I believe, and he got to the game with Kennesaw State, and he's like, Kennesaw, I don't even know what state Kennesaw's in, so I'm picking whoever they're playing, and I'm like, man, they're right outside of Atlanta, Georgia.
That's funny. I would think somebody from Kentucky would know where that is, but I guess not.
Well, yeah, especially with it being on the way to Atlanta.
Right, you got to drive through there.
Time as Kentucky fans spend in Atlanta during the SEC tournament, all that.
Right.
I mean, you're going through it every time. But hey, I get it. I'm also, that could have been me. I mean, I if I'm not driving, or especially if I am driving, I'm not looking around.
What also used to be like I don't know what the best example is, but like a Fishers or a Noble, or maybe not Noblesville, but a smaller suburb of Atlanta. So it used to be kind of a smaller town. Now it's exploded recently. So maybe back when they were, frequently going to Atlanta, it was a little bit smaller and unrecognizable. But anyway.
Yes. Let's see. So what game are you looking forward to today? I just had it pulled up.
Yeah.
Today is Thursday. Yeah. Ohio State, TCU. That's an 8-9 game right off the bat. Yeah. I love it. NCAA gives us what should be a 50-50 toss-up right off the bat. I guarantee you half the people have TCU and half the people probably have Ohio State picked in this.
Here's one that I would keep an eye on too. At 150 today, we have High Point in Wisconsin. That score could be 105-98. I'm just both those teams can score at will. So keep your eye out. I think that, look, I already told you why I think Wisconsin could potentially upset Arizona. Would also not surprise me if Wisconsin lost in the first round. They have been so Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde this year. But I think that that's going to be a fun game. How about this other one? If you're looking for a game later this evening, former Iowa Hawkeye coach Fran McCaffrey leading the Penn Quakers against the Illinois Fighting Illini. They're gonna Penn's gonna know what Illinois likes. Now, doesn't mean they can stop them, but I think the element of the coaching strategy there, that one intrigues me a lot too.
Yeah, I just think that Illinois is, I believe, is one of the 8 or 10 teams in the KenPom metrics that I was talking about. I think they were. I'm going to have to pull that up for certain to remember. But that I'm looking forward to watching Wisconsin play any of those 5-12 games, because one of them there's going to be an upset. It's in the book. You just write it down. Vanderbilt McNeese is another 5-12 game that I have Vanderbilt winning, but these games are going to be fun.
The other one last one I'll give you too. This one has no ties to St. Louis, Georgia, 8-9 game. Again, ties to Indiana.
I've got SLU.
Josh Schertz and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar against former Brownsburg standout Cannon Catchings. Cannon Catchings, I believe, is at Georgia now.
Yeah.
So there you go. There's some Indiana ties to that one too.
Yeah, lots of it. And glad to have it. Here's an upset I've got picked. 11 seed VCU over 6 seed North Carolina.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah.
I'll take that. I like that. I'll follow you with that one.
Well, Dustin Schutte from Boilers on SI with me right now. If you're able to stick around, we'll continue this. And if not, we'll shove you off down the chute. But
I can do one more segment.
We've got more coming up. We'll pick some more picks as you're heading into the NCAA tournament, hitting the starting gate today. Back with more right after these messages.
Andy Moore Honda Bloomington has the deals for you, like great savings on the remaining 2025 Hondas. First-time buyers get more than expected. The Honda Civic and HR-V are the most popular vehicles for first-time buyers in the U.S. Andy Moore Honda Bloomington also has a quality selection of pre-certified used vehicles. And check out the selection of Andy Moore Honda Bloomington's 2026 models, like the Honda Passport, Honda CR-V Hybrid, Honda Ridgeline, and more. ISP Radio with Jim Coyle is brought to you exclusively on The Zone by Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington, Bloomington's #1 Honda dealer. If you're looking for a new home in the Indianapolis area, you need Cheryl Sizemore from Brick and Ivy Realty. Cheryl Sizemore has over 2 decades of experience, and that could be the difference in getting the home you want in today's tough housing market. Reach out to Cheryl at CherylSizemore@gmail.com or 317-701-0838. That's 317-701-0838. Let Cheryl Sizemore sell or find your new home today.
Zach Browning here to tell you about an offer you simply can't pass up. If you're looking for the best coverage of Indiana football and basketball, which includes recruiting, weekly chats, podcasts, as well as access to the best national team out there, then look no further than thehoosier.com. The best part, it's just $1 for the first week. Oh, and did I mention that you get a full year of access to The Athletic when you sign up? You can't beat the coverage, and you can't beat the deal. So head over to thehoosier.com today and sign up for just $1. It'll be the best decision you ever made.
Bored, Bloomington? Dave & Buster's can fix that. Eat and drink your way through our all-new menu. Play half-price games every Sunday through Thursday. Watch all your team's wins on a 40-foot screen and 30 HD TVs. And level all up with the high-flying human crane that puts you in the game. Private game suites, our exclusive arena, and more. Only at Dave & Buster's on 731 South College Mall Road.
Welcome back, Indiana Sports Beat Radio. Jim Coyle with you on this Thursday. Glad to be with you, and Dustin Schutte with me as we were going down the line of today's games. 7 Big Ten teams in action today, 7 of the 9. So I guess that's too many to keep up with in a single day. I don't know why they didn't split them up a little more. You're muted.
Now I did it. I was going to say,
how'd that happen?
I got to steer off the games really quick because I saw 2 comments. Number one, the other nickname that I couldn't think of anyway was Milk Chamberlain. Excellent.
Oh, I didn't hear that one before.
The other one is someone referred to Brad Underwood as Bradley Underworld. I saw that during the break and it made me laugh. That's an excellent alias.
I would call him Bradley Underachieving.
Well, you could say Bradley Underwhelmed.
Underwhelming. There you go. And it's not because they haven't had success. And he's had to retool every year, and he does, and he puts together a good product. But this is one of the best in a while. But although they're in that bracket matrix, you can't eliminate them just because of that. I just don't think that at the end of the day they have the chemistry, I guess, to go all the way, what it takes to win all 6 of those games. There's going to be adversity multiple times along the way, and not that they haven't been in tough games. They have, but
I don't know that and I don't know that they've shown any much consistency throughout the year. Like, they're capable of beating anybody that they play, but obviously they've also lost some games that they shouldn't have lost along the ways. Excuse me. So, and they had a dogfight with Maryland, and Maryland's atrocious. So, and that stuff happens throughout the course of a college basketball season, but there's some reasons why I would not be surprised if Penn won today. No, that would not shock me at all. I'm saying all this, and look, we're going to get all straight chalk after I'm saying there's about 4 or 5 upsets that I'm looking at for today. I think at the very least, let me say that I think Penn's going to scare the hell out of Illinois.
Now that I would not doubt, because obviously to get to where they are playing solid basketball. So, and again, all of these the games that shouldn't be good have been good. They're just going to be good. It's like everything is a one-day tournament in this.
Yeah. Well, and because part of it too is because some of these teams, whether they want to admit it or not, like teams like Illinois, you can throw Purdue in there, you can Michigan State. Some of these teams are looking also ahead, whether they want to admit it or not. They want to have a long stay in the NCAA tournament. Penn, Miami of Ohio, Kennesaw State, VCU, some of those teams, they just want to win a game. So they're so they're just so focused on that one game. And I think some of these teams, some of these programs have learned the lesson the hard way, where you've got to win the first one to play the second one. But I do think that there's also an element of kids think, oh, we're playing this team, they're not going to be very good. Let's coast to this one. And so that mentality kind of sets in, and everybody's playing for their season. So, that's what makes it fun. It's the finality
death,
of the situation.
Exactly. Sudden death. These guys are playing like that, and they play like that in the NCAA tournament, which is why it is the greatest sporting event that we have, in my opinion, and many others, over a 3-week period. It's freaking, the month of March is awesome. And who doesn't love it? We've got spring coming. You've got you get to move the clocks ahead, daylight savings time. You get more daylight to do stuff, and it's going to be freaking warmer at some point, and stay warmer as we get there. You ready to dust your golf clubs off?
I am, but let me just tell you, it's supposed to be like high 70s here this week, into the 80s, Jim.
Yeah, I know. This is a month that will go from within 1 week of having a low of like 14, and a high of 80.
You didn't go to Chicago, did you?
Oh no, not that trip.
Oh my God. There was one day I believe it was 60 degrees. The next day it was 38 and raining. And then overnight it was snowing. It was snowing and it was miserable. Let me tell you, oh boy, that was the worst 24 hours. But we also have another day where on Sunday we go to 87, and then on Monday it's 59. So we're at fake spring right now on the calendar.
Well, they play
fake
basketball inside.
That's true.
And they'll keep them going. All right, so number 1, Michigan plays today. I've already said I'm picking VCU over North Carolina. BYU and Texas. All right, Texas wins a tough game over North Carolina State. I'm not going to mention the fact that someone pointed out that was Sean Miller against Will Wade. Both two guys that were under a certain FBI investigation a few years ago. What was the wording that Will Wade we made?
I forget. Big ass offer.
Big ass offer. That's what it was,
or something like that. Yeah.
Man, that would still be funny if you heard it today. And
yeah,
it's legal. But
that's true. Yeah. That is strong ass offer is what it was.
Strong ass offer. Yeah. BYU, I would like them to go further, but I think they're kind of banged up.
They're they are. It's going to be the AJ DeBanza show because the Saunders kid, I believe, is the one who's out for them, if I remember correctly. And the same thing with Texas Tech. They had a squad too, but JT Toppin's out. So how far can they go? They played well for a couple weeks without him.
Yeah, they're not playing today. I don't see them on here, I don't believe. But I've got them. I forget who I've got them losing to, but I don't have them going very far. Your boys from Kennesaw State taking on Gonzaga.
Yep, that is today. I thought it was tomorrow, but it's today. It's tonight, late tonight.
That's a 21.5 point game there, and it'll probably be that. But I've got Gonzaga losing at some point as well. So
well, look here.
Hold on.
I'm not gonna pick the upset, but Gonzaga did lose to Portland earlier this year, and Portland was not good. A losing record by a lot.
Yeah, conference game. They're out there in that week conference out in the Pacific Northwest where nobody watches them or pays attention to them. They were probably sleepwalking.
I get it, but
I have never thought Gonzaga was going to be the team in any of these years where they're supposed to be great.
There was 1 year, the year they made it to the championship game. I thought that they were going to be pretty good that year, but this is not one of the better Gonzaga teams, in my opinion.
I agree with you. Well, I mean, they had NBA players just a couple of years ago, man, loaded with them.
Yeah.
So, and that's another thing. The national champion, you've got to have a first-round draft pick on the team. That's also another thing that goes back. How many of these teams fit into that? A lot of them, because there's a ton of first-round. Well, 32. Well, there were 32 first-round picks, right?
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yep.
So
I had to think about
32 players, but those are going to be split up across different teams. I'm sure Duke has a number of them.
This is the question I don't ever know. Is it first round draft picks in the ensuing NBA draft?
No.
Or is it just
on the roster,
eventually
on the roster?
Okay. So if somebody's a draft pick at some point.
But I don't know that any of the teams have not had one that would
go in that next draft.
That was a senior. Yeah, that was a senior per se or whatever. Could have, but no, there has been a first round draft pick that played on the team.
Right.
That one. They may not, like you said, they may not have been drafted that next year. It may have been a year after that, but that's a definitive thing. And how many teams, have that? Of course, we know the Duke, number one seeds
BYU,
all do.
Kansas, Florida,
does Purdue?
Michigan.
That's the huge question in debate. That's people think I hate on Purdue, and I don't try to. I really don't. Matt Painter is a great guy. He's a very successful coach. They haven't had the success nationally, but there's a lot of people that have not had the success nationally. He's had more success from a conference level than virtually anybody else currently, other than Tom Izzo.
Yeah, but I don't think there's anybody that would argue that Purdue has a first round pick. I mean, if Braden were to, he would be in the 30s, probably in the 30, 31, or 32. I would guess like most, and the reason I say this is because most of the mocks have him in the second round. So I think you can acknowledge that he's one of the best players we've ever seen, but also there's different evaluation at that next level. So doesn't mean he's not a great player. It just means that he may not be a first round pick. So that's
and I don't think that he is, but
I'm going to guess he won't be.
Then that takes you to the question with not having a first round draft pick on that. Now we don't know that. Is there somebody on there that could be a first round pick next year?
I would say Purdue's best chance of that is probably going to be Omer Meyer. And I don't know that it'll be next year. It could be the year after that. But
that's stretching.
But Omer plays 10 to 12 minutes a game. I mean, sometimes he'll play 18 if they need him to, but usually he's in that 10 to 12 minute range. So it's not like he's on the floor for an extended period of time anyway.
Does Purdue have the NIL ability to keep good players as we go forward? Braden Smith is reportedly kind of underpaid for what he has done and accomplished and his value. He stayed at Purdue out of loyalty, was not looking to move and wouldn't have expected him to. But any other player that was not this Indiana kid that had been a part of that, man, those offers are going to come. I don't know if this is true, but I read that Kentucky had offered Yaxel Lundenberg a big payday. Now
I saw that too, and I do not believe that he turned to turn down that amount of money. You're not.
Why? No. Why on God's green earth would you?
Right.
So I haven't been able to check out the veracity of that. And it's just as soon as I saw that, I'm like,
yeah,
you would have been the highest paid player in college basketball.
Yeah, that's first round draft money.
Yeah, I'm like, it is. It's higher than first round draft money. It's probably damn near double. I don't know what it is now, but yeah, close. But I agree. So, but going forward, Purdue's been able to keep these guys together they have had a great run all the way up to right now with keeping guys. And I don't know that is how much longer will that last?
Yeah. I think that's a fair question. Yeah. I think to some extent, a lot of the players that you ask now say the reason they and every guy is going to say this in college basketball, but a lot of them will say like it wasn't about the money. I mean, even if the money wasn't where it needed or, was lower or whatever, I would have still went to Purdue because of how it fits, the culture, all that stuff. But I think it's fair to say that do you have a kid that maybe does want to chase a payday? I think that at some point they will have, a player maybe like that. I think that everybody's probably going to have to endure with that sometime. But what's interesting, Jim, I don't know if you've seen this or not, and this is a Mick Cronin idea. So, but the idea that the Big Ten is going to try to push for schools to be able to push over their quote unquote salary cap to try to retain players. So that way, basically almost like a, what's that called? Restricted free agent. So you can have the opportunity to say, you know what, so-and-so is going to offer you $1 million. We'll be willing to go over at 1.5 to keep you. I think that's actually a good thing. So maybe in that regard, that could help Purdue out. But the kids that Matt Painter recruits tend to not a lot of them have been under-recruited. A lot of them aren't the 5-star McDonald's All-Americans. They may not be the guys that people are chasing, but I think it would be naive to say that Purdue has a player that's really good. And, if Kansas or Duke or North Carolina comes knocking at some point, could they lose some guys? Yeah, sure. I think that's fair, but I think that's what everybody's dealing with at the same time. So it'll be interesting. I'm interested to see what the transfer portal looks like this offseason, because they've got a lot of guys battling for spots, but they're all obviously also losing five seniors from the team. So next year this offseason is going to be super interesting in my opinion.
Yeah, and I do kind of like that idea, but I don't know that they're going to be able to do anything until there is a collective bargaining agreement. I've talked earlier about the SEC, talking about, well, we're going to have to make our own rules and lead by example, which that was fun conversation yesterday, talking about the most renegade freaking conference in college athletics is going to be the example. You're the ones, every one of your team or your teams are the ones that's causing most of the freaking havoc.
Right.
In football and basketball. And so clean your own house out first. I don't disagree with it if you could do it, but who the hell is going to trust the SEC to be the leader in ethics?
Yeah,
tampering.
That went out the window a long time
SEC,
ago.
Good God, they're good God-feared people. Good Christians. And I'm not saying that to be.
No, I know. Well, they haven't won a football championship since we've had this NIL era, so I wonder what has changed, Jim. Can't imagine what it might be.
Now, I would like to see this. Russell said he'd like to see a WWE match between
That's pretty good.
Danny Hurley and Mick Cronin. I'd take Hurley in a freaking heartbeat. I'll tell you that.
Would you?
Now. Oh, my God. That guy's got he goes from 0 to 100 in nothing.
That's true.
And he's so, if you saw the 60-minute piece on him, it was hilarious talking to his wife, because he's the opposite, out there. And I get that, because I always refer back to Joe Hinton, the former coach at Floyd Central, where I went. Dude won over 500 games in high school, and nicest guy you'd ever talk to. He was a driver's ed teacher, phys ed. On the basketball floor, this dude was a maniac, whack job. And I mean that in a loving sense. He would just go, he was just so, and I found out later that he was just such a competitor. When he was young, he was just a most competitive person some older guys were telling me about. And that just doesn't leave you, I guess. I mean, you might get older and get smarter about it, but the dude would go crazy. I loved it, but he was so much fun. Hey, I always ask this: what is the necessity? How many technicals do you need to get kicked out of a game?
2.
Yeah, he got 5 one night.
Well, Bob Knight got 3, right? Didn't he get 3 in the chair game? Or maybe it wasn't even the chair game. There was one time he got 3 techs. I remember that.
Dustin Schutte on Boilers Boilers on SI. Give him a follow, because the Boilers are going to be playing for a couple weekends, I think. Appreciate you, brother, as always. Oh, congratulations on your engagement, by the way, and your upcoming nuptials.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
I forget about it, but we'll talk more about that next time, buddy. Appreciate
Sounds
you.
good.
Matt Taylor up next. The voice of the Indianapolis Colts. We'll talk about the Max Crosby fiasco a little bit. And how future teammate Fernando Mendoza at least is going to have a good edge rusher for him. Back with more right after these messages.
Dave & Buster's Bloomington is the place to eat, drink, play, and watch. Enjoy half-price games Sunday through Thursday, plus a new menu and next-level upgrades like private game suites and the high-flying human crane. Only at Dave & Buster's Bloomington on South College Mall Road.
Zach Browning here to tell you about an offer you simply can't pass up. If you're looking for the best coverage of Indiana football and basketball, which includes recruiting, weekly chats, podcasts, as well as access to the best national team out there, then look no further than thehoosier.com. The best part, it's just $1 for the first week. Oh, and did I mention that you get a full year of access to The Athletic when you sign up? You can't beat the coverage, and you can't beat the deal. So head over to thehoosier.com today and sign up for just $1. It'll be the best decision you ever made.
You're looking for a new home in the Indianapolis area? You need Cheryl Sizemore from Brick and Ivy Realty. Cheryl Sizemore has over 2 decades of experience, and that could be the difference in getting the home you want in today's tough housing market. Reach out to Cheryl at CherylSizemore@gmail.com or 317-701-0838. That's 317-701-0838. Let's show Sizemore, sell, or find your new home today. Andy Moore Honda Bloomington has the deals for you, like great savings on the remaining 2025 Hondas. First-time buyers get more than expected. The Honda Civic and HR-V are the most popular vehicles for first-time buyers in the U.S. Andy Moore Honda Bloomington also has a quality selection of pre-certified used vehicles. And check out the selection of Andy Moore Honda Bloomington's 2026 models, like the Honda Passport, Honda CR-V Hybrid, Honda Ridgeline, and more. ISB Radio with Jim Coyle is brought to you exclusively on The Zone by Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington, Bloomington's #1 Honda dealer.
Bored, Bloomington? Dave and Buster's can fix that. Eat and drink your way through our new menu. Play half-price games every Sunday through Thursday. Watch your teams on the big screen and level it all up with the high-flying human crane. Private game suites and more, only at 731 South College Ball Road.
Welcome back, Indiana Sports Beat Radio on this Thursday. Looking forward to watching some hoops today, but there's always fun football talk going on. And, man, this Max Crosby trade fiasco has really become kind of fun fodder, huh?
Yeah. I mean, it's like a domino effect across the NFL, right? So Max Crosby doesn't work out for the Ravens for whatever reason, so they pivot and they immediately go after Trey Hendrickson. And then a lot of teams have to adapt and adjust after that signing as it relates to what they need and what they can, spend elsewhere at defensive end and free agency. And I think the Colts are definitely one of those teams that had to pivot and adjust. But that's life in the NFL as a personnel evaluator, as GMs. Have to evaluate all of these things in real time. So, free agency is a two-way street, man. You got to want them. They got to want you. And that's the beauty of being able to hit the open market. So, it's definitely wild times. And we're now in the second wave of NFL free agency. Things are kind of slowing down a little bit where the high marquee guys are off the board. And now it's about teams, going after guys that can supplement the roster and give you some good depth. That's kind of where we're at right now, but it's certainly been crazy.
Yeah, and we don't see this a lot in the NFL. The NFL is the most buttoned down professional league there is in every way. They try, and I mean that. They are better. They're more efficient than the government, which the government's not efficient, so that's a redundant, ridiculous statement. But their efficiency that's a paramount all the time. Yeah, and I get that. So this is unusual, and I know it was said because he failed a physical, but there's the way it sounds. It's like it's turning out to be weird. He said he got there and the vibe was off. The head coach, the GM, wasn't there to meet him. You know more about this kind of stuff. It's just a weird and I'm not asking you to comment on the team because of your position, but I'm saying all this. The Ravens have a reputation for doing goofy stuff, let's just say, that we don't normally see. And I think would that cause any teams to have concerns of dealing with other teams when they do things like that?
I don't know. That's a good question. I mean, I certainly don't know the inner.
Make that as generic as possible, bro.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it is a process, right? When you enter those legal negotiating periods before free agency starts, which I think most people don't understand that, and I think it's kind of silly that's even a part of the puzzle in this. I mean, to me, free agency should just start and everybody should just go. It's kind of like from a golf standpoint, it's like what do they call that? Like everybody starts on a hole and everybody starts at the same time, like a shotgun start. So there you go. But yeah, I mean, when contracts become official after trades, all of that stuff is pending physicals, and it's usually just a formality, right? Because teams, I don't think the Raiders were trying to get over on the Ravens by trading Max Crosby, knowing that he's hurt, right? So that's a little bit of a curious part of all of this. But then once Crosby actually gets to the Ravens and gets inside the team building, he's got a lot of things he's got to do. He's got to take that physical. He's got to go through the media gauntlet. He's got to meet with his position coach and the head coach and the GM. I mean, those are all routine things. Those are very standard, free agents or trade parts of just getting into the building for the first time. That's just what you do. So I can't speak to the actual details of that or the timing of it, but I'm with you. Like when I read Max Crosby say those things, and when he said that, he hadn't met with the GM, over the course of his time in the building there, which was a substantial part of his day last week, that was a little bit curious. So yeah, I'm sure there's a lot of this that we don't really know, and maybe we'll never know because of just how it went down. And listen, when you're going to give up 2 first-round picks, you got to be right. And so if there's something on that MRI or that X-ray or that scan that didn't come back pristine, it does give you pause knowing the investment that you're giving up to try to get a difference maker that can take your team over the top when you have this short window of opportunity with a franchise quarterback in their prime.
We'll see if Matt. There we go. I think you're back. There you go. Yep, lost you for a second. Matt Taylor with us from the Indianapolis Colts. We're talking about the Max Crosby fiasco with the Raiders, mainly because it doesn't happen generally, but also because Fernando Mendoza expected to go there. And I was thinking with those first-round picks, man, they're going to work to build up the offensive line or wherever they need to build around a rookie quarterback. Now that changes for a franchise. Now they have to pivot and do something different to protect your freshman quarterback, for lack of a better word. But because that's a tough thing to be, man. A guy coming out of college and become the starting quarterback.
Yeah, but I think, he's poised to do it. And it's not like their cupboard's completely bare. They've got some playmakers, right? They've got some guys on offense they can build around. Genty's a great running back, and I think he's a good foundational piece. The offensive line is not, something where they have to just rip it down to the studs. Obviously last year proved they've got some ways to go, but it's an NFL team. I say this all the time about NFL teams. They're mostly constructed the same way. It's just you need those difference makers, right? You need your top 10 players to be your premium players at those really important spots on both offense and defense. And so that's what this offseason for them is all about, trying to figure that stuff out, right? They're going to be drafting in the top of every round. That's what we forget. It's not just the first round or the first overall pick of the draft. It's the other rounds too, where they're picking high. And so they can get difference makers in rounds 2, rounds 3, maybe even day 3 of the draft, but they do need help. They're going to get the quarterback in Mendoza, but they need other stuff too. And they need those premium spots at corner and tackle and pass rusher and wide receiver. And so it's pretty amazing, Jim, what teams can do to turn things around pretty quickly. And the parity of the NFL is, you talked about how it's like, it never goes away. It's the most popular sport. I think a big reason why is because the NFL prides itself on parity. 39 straight years we've had at least 4 teams make the playoffs that did not the year before. And it seems like every December we get down to like week 17, week 18, and there's like, out of 32 teams, there's still like 28 teams that still have at least a chance to make the playoffs. So they can get this thing done pretty quickly because of the model of the NFL and what the rules allow teams to do to be able to, flip the roster pretty quick between the salary cap and free agency. You just got to get those difference makers. And I think with Mendoza going top of the draft and then some other, big time free agent acquisitions that they've made, I've seen where they've spent over $100 million in free agency already, and they're going to be picking top of the draft in round 2, round 3. You can get some immediate day 1 starters to kind of fill those gaps and turn things around pretty quickly with a new head coach.
Yeah, and the Colts are doing the same thing, just differently. They had the quarterback in place, but they working to
keep that, get their offensive players locked down, and they added Nick Westbrook, who a former Indiana wide receiver. He's got what, 4 years experience in the NFL.
No, he's got more than that. I think it's like 6 or 7. He came out in 2019. Cow. Yeah. I mean, we forget just how good he was at IU, and it just seems like so long ago considering the recent success they've had in Bloomington. But I said it yesterday because this news came out yesterday. The Colts have made a lot of they've been really active. I would say they've signed quantity over huge difference makers as they try to replenish the roster. They've lost a lot of guys to free agency, guys they just couldn't afford to pay because of the top end contracts that they've doled out to their premium players, like I just talked about. That for the Colts in this offseason, as it relates to that, those guys would be Daniel Jones and Alec Pierce. So they had to make some, shrewd and astute decisions on deceptively expensive free agents elsewhere. Guys like, Braden Smith and Nick Cross, they've left the team in free agency. You just can't keep everybody when you have to pay the quarterback $40+ million, and now you're paying Alec Pierce, a premium player. I'm not being critical of the move whatsoever, but you have to pay big money to keep a guy like that has a really important skill set that's hard to replace. But bottom line, the Colts have made a lot of moves, but one of the ones that I like the best is Nick Westbrook-Ikhine. I think he has a skill set that I don't want to say directly replaces Michael Pittman Jr., but he's kind of in that mold where he's a big body possession type guy that feasts in the middle of the field. Kind of that second layer of the defense between the numbers. That's where Michael Pittman Jr. made his money. And I think that's where potentially on paper, Nick Westbrook-Ikhine can compete for a roster spot and, contribute for this team, considering what the Colts lost in free agency or in a trade in this case, getting rid of Michael Pittman Jr. and sending him to the Steelers.
And ironically, I'm going to compare the Colts kind of to the Pacers and that, they were having a spectacular season. They didn't get as far, obviously, as the Pacers did the previous year because their injury happened before getting to the playoffs or whatnot, or being able to get to that point. But both ended up having, not obviously the Pacers were what they are, but both are able to rebuild and maybe be better than they were the year before, before going through the doldrums, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Well, that certainly qualifies for the Colts. I mean, we've talked about this, I think, a lot. The Colts have missed the playoffs now 5 years in a row. And you think about what the Pacers have done, not what they are doing, but they made the NBA Finals and played it all the way to the Game 7 just last June. I mean, the Fever, incredibly popular with Caitlin Clark. You look at obviously what's going on with Purdue basketball right now up in West Lafayette. There's a lot of Purdue fans in central Indiana that live in Indianapolis. And so what's going on in West Lafayette now from a basketball standpoint is driving dollars and attention away from the Colts. What's going on in Bloomington with football is driving, that's direct competition to the Colts, I think, in a way, because they share the same seasons. They're in this season, the same months of the year, right? September, October, November, and on into bowl season. So, I mean, if you're an IU football fan and a Colts fan and you have X amount of discretionary dollars, where are you going to go right now? And the Colts are still, I think, the biggest player in town, and they're still the biggest entity sports-wise in this market, in the state, because it's just the NFL, right? The NFL is just on a different level, right? That's just the reality of it. But in saying that, people are still starting to get a little frustrated and they're starting to get a little impatient. And that's why at the end of the year, when Carly Ursay-Gordon, now the principal owner for the Colts, uses the word urgency and I think she accentuates it and stresses it even more this year than she did last year, knowing what's on the line and knowing what's coming back and just knowing it's time to go, knowing it's time to win the division for the first time since 2014 and make it to the playoffs. Haven't done that since 2020. Haven't won a playoff game since 2018, right? I mean, everybody knows what time it is. And so that's why I think you're seeing the Colts operate in the way that they are for the second straight off season, knowing they have to get the roster replenished. They got to get younger and faster at a lot of key areas, but it's just all about developing and growing and keeping your best players at those premium positions. And the quest continues to get more of those guys, probably as of right now, heading into the draft next month.
Matt Taylor, the voice of the Indianapolis Colts. And where is your next Indiana Sports Trivia night, Matt?
Well, we are actually going to take the next couple of weeks off for the tournament. Most bars and restaurants are blocking that off to watch games on TV, and rightfully so. It's a special time of year, so you don't want to mess with it. So we're going to kick it back into gear in April 2nd in Greenwood at Ale Emporium. That's when we fire it back up again. And then I'll have some more social media posts on Twitter and Instagram for the full schedule in April. But yeah, we'll take basketball weekends off for the next couple of weeks and then get it going again after the Final Four.
And we're working on getting you set up in Bloomington as well, peeps. So look out for it. But head over to Ale Emporium on April 2nd and have some fun with Matt and the crew. Appreciate you as always, buddy.
All right, Jim. Have a great weekend.
You as well, man. Hope you picked the winner in your bracket.
You know it.
Matt Taylor from the Colts joining us. Man, I have had a great day just because I got to spend it with you guys. And big thanks to Matt, to Dustin Schutte, and to Coach Griff. Most importantly, again, each and every one of you. Stay tuned for Glass. We're back tomorrow to do it again. Have fun. Get your brackets filled out. I will see you on the radio.
Thanks for listening to Indiana Sports Beat Radio. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube page for more clips and team coverage of Indiana basketball, football, and more. You can also find full episodes and tons of other content on thehoosier.com. We'll see you next time for another edition of Indiana Sports Beat Radio.